Barcelona get another 3 points against Elche, and we are cruising in La Liga with an easy 4-0 victory. We are currently 15 points up. Of course, we have to wait to see how Real Madrid plays tomorrow against Rayo Vallecano, but it's a win nonetheless. Now, the good thing about this win, it was an easy, simple win. We had no injuries. The players that were not performing well in recent times decided to show up today. We got to rest a bunch of players, but most importantly, we got the 3 points before another El Clásico, our final El Clásico of the year against Real Madrid, our 4th game against them this year. Or, no, actually our 5th game against them this year. And we got to make it into the victory. But first, let's talk about this game against Elche. Now, one very odd thing about this game was Eric Garcia. Playing him as a central defensive midfield was an interesting choice, but I'm actually glad we decided to take that risk. I feel like in these kinds of games, because Elche is at the very, very bottom of the league, I think in order for them to even have a chance to make a comeback and stay in La Liga next season, they have to get 13 points. And now they just lost 4-0 at home. So obviously that's not happening. But in a game like this, it was good to see Eric Garcia get a chance. Now, I don't think he was all that impressive. He didn't really do all that much. But again, it is his first match in this position. I honestly think we should give him more chances in this position because I will say this right now, as a center back, he's very iffy. He's not the best center back out there. He's kind of a loose goose per se. He's not to be trusted in the back, and I feel like right now what our team needs to do is build a good defense. And we've had Christensen, Araujo, Conde, Balde all doing amazing, but I'm glad that in this game we also got to see Araujo's return. But the main thing I want to talk about is the front three: ANSU FATI, Ferran Torres, and Lewandowski. But before I get into that, we do have to kind of go into the game. Now, the first 2 minutes were actually interesting. Now, going into this game, Barcelona fans knew this was going to be probably the easiest 3 points we'll get all year, and I'll completely agree with that. And we needed this kind of game because we need to rest some players. Because if we want to win the Copa del Rey, we gotta get some players in, especially because it's the weekday, and there's so much going into it. And recently we've been scraping games against Bilbao, Real Madrid. We've been scraping these games with 1-0 victories or 2-1 victories, and I feel like it was time we needed an impressive win. I feel like also as fans, we also deserve this kind of win. Not every game needs to be this high stakes 1-0, 2-0 kind of game. We know sometimes we gotta be able to relax, take a step back, and get ourselves a comfortable match, see our favorite players perform, and that's what we did. Now, the first half wasn't really all that impressive. You could tell Barcelona was playing this game kind of conservatively. Now, Elche was actually interesting because usually when we play against these smaller clubs, they will defend back the entire game and wait for us to make a mistake so that they can make a counterattack. That's usually how smaller teams go. Almeria did the same thing in our last loss against them when they won 1-0 at their stadium, and that's what they did. Same thing that Elche, you could tell, were trying to do. And then you could tell in the first 15 minutes, this game was very conservatively played. It kind of looked like Barcelona was kind of relaxing. They were kind of like, hey, we're gonna get the goals eventually. We'll just have to wait. And it kind of looked like that's what Xavi was telling the players. He was like, hey, calm down. We have the rest of the game. This is just Elche. While Elche, on the other hand, you could tell we're trying to almost make that counterattack game. But lots of times, that's something that this team did really well today. Our defense, we had Jordi Alba, Alonso, Araujo, and Conde in the back. It was good to see a little bit of rotation, especially with Christensen playing a lot of games. Araujo's back from injury. But what made this game interesting is that never in the game was the defense challenge, and I do genuinely think that is because our defense was that good. Countless of times during the game, you could tell that Elche was trying to make some kind of counterattack, some kind of crazy play, but a lot of the time our defense, especially Jordi Alba and Conde, they would stop it. A lot of times you could see Araujo would grab the ball and literally run forward to that middle spot. You can always tell how dominant a team is when the defenders are playing often in that middle circle. If they're constantly crossing that line, then that team is dominating, and that's what Barcelona was doing so much in this game. You could tell the defense was so comfortable, and they knew that they weren't going to get past it, and never in this game did it look looked like Elche was going to get themselves a goal, at least before we scored. But eventually, Lewandowski's goal came in, and it was so good to see Lewy back. You know, he's been our best signing. He's been amazing, one of the best strikers, and we're so lucky to have been able to sign him. But he was able to get himself a brace. Both of these goals were impressive, especially that second goal. The first goal kind of felt more like an accident, but I feel like the game ended once Lewandowski scored that goal in the game, because after that you saw Elche it's almost like Elche realized, oh, we don't have a plan anymore, and the entire game was ran by Xavi. I still think Xavi is the man of the match of this game, but Xavi was dominating that ball. It wasn't his best game, but you could tell that anytime Xavi was in any position to take the ball back or have the ball, it's almost like all the Elche players looked and were like, we're basically screwed. And you could see that a lot in the game. Sergi Roberto, I think, did decently. He did a couple of decent runs. Eric Garcia didn't really do much, like I said earlier in the video, but still, nonetheless, for a player this is his first time playing in this position, at least in a professional match, it is very interesting to see that he didn't do bad. You know, he didn't have any mistakes. He didn't really have any major things that went against him. He wasn't like Sergio Busquets, who could get you a good cross, although there was one cross in particular that was pretty good of him. But for the most part, we dominated this game in a calm manner. It wasn't like an obvious domination where Barcelona, you could tell we're going to win like 8-0 or something. Like, it was more like calm. I genuinely was surprised we got 4 goals, because it kind of looked like Barcelona were at most going to only score 2 goals. But nah, the attack was the thing I really was hoping that we'd see most of, because all 3 of these players, Lewandowski was in a bit of a slump. It was the first time he went on a 4-goal league drought since 2016, so it was a little bit disappointing. Although then again, that's because Barcelona in the last couple of weeks, because of injuries, have been playing with a very conservative kind of defending, or not defending per se, but very calm type of football. But Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati. Now, Ferran, this entire first half, did nothing. I've been very critical of Ferran. Everyone knows that. But Ferran, the entire game, was kind of, mid. He got himself a couple of touches, not much. But then again, it's because the ball never went to his side. But that one goal he scored was a beauty. And I think it's nice to see that, because we want to see Ferran gain confidence. He cost us 50 million. We know he has the talent to play at this level day in, day out. And so it is good to see Ferran get that goal, and I hope it boosts his confidence. But Ansu Fati is the main man. He was making the headlines all week. I was unfortunately unable to cover that specific topic. But Ansu Fati, his dad talking shit about Barcelona to the press. I feel like Ansu's embarrassed, especially because he's only 20 years old. And I feel like, at that age, the last thing you want to see is your dad talking shit about the team you play for and the team you want to play for. But now, Ansu came in this game. First half didn't really do much. He had like one run, but you could tell it kind of felt like a build-up in this game. You could tell that Ansu was anxious, and that goal he scored, that felt like pre-injury Ansu. That felt like 2020 Ansu, 2019 Ansu. It felt like that Ansu. And you look at a lot of Ansu's goals, and they're very similar to the one. You'll go outside the box, one player will get shimmied out, and then all of a sudden Ansu just scores from a random position. He did it against Inter Milan a couple years ago. He did it against, I can't remember what team he did it against, but I remember it was this one game under Koeman. And now he does it again against Elche. And after that, you could see he was confident. He was doing all right. Not a very impressive game, but again, this game really wasn't about the wingers. Realistically, it was another conservative game, a very calm, relaxed game. So the wingers really didn't have much of an impact. But when they got the ball, both Ferran and Ansu, they were dangerous. So it is good to see that. Overall, great game. Conde, Jordi, Alonso, they all did decent. It was also great to see Ter Stegen get the clean sheet, because he is aiming for that record. And again, Barcelona and La Liga this year defensively are great. Xavi needs these 3 points, and it's good to come back from international football. One thing that I'm always nervous of is that high you get from a big match win. And one of my worries going into this game is that El Clásico was so much of a high that they were going to mess it up. We saw this against Almeria, so it was good to see Barcelona come to the stadium, come to this ground. Not a very difficult ground, but get the 3 points. This is what Barcelona needs. That's how you win a league title. And a league title, it's not just about beating the big teams, but it's about being consistent against the smaller teams. That's how you win the Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, no matter what league title out there. And it's good to see this win. Real Madrid is heading to the Camp Nou this weekend. We have the advantage. We beat them 1-0 at the Bernabeu. It's going to be a very nerve-wracking game. But the overall best parts of this game is that Xavi tactically outsmarted Elche in every way, especially with the defense. But the players, seeing that the players were able to rest, seeing some of these players that don't get much time, get their time, especially ANSU. I love ANSU. ANSU, I'm always wishing for the best for ANSU because ANSU is the future. ANSU, if we properly give him game time, can be that man, that to go, that number 10 that we really have been missing since Messi. So please, y'all, smash the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Y'all let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about this match? 3 points, 15 points on top of La Liga. I think it's safe to say we're cruising down La Liga. Xavi needs this, obviously. But imagine if you could win both La Copa del Rey and La Liga in your first full season as a Barcelona coach. You could win every Spanish title possible. And I feel like this is needed because that way next year we can focus on the UEFA Champions League. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Check y'all out on the next one. Ciao.
Where do you go? Where do you go to? I wanna know. How do you do it? That thing you do. Follow you blindly, I'll be your fool. Cinderella, I think I'll find your glass slipper, baby.